Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am, the one and only, Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and I am from the likes of the Mexi Toys videos, as always. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we'll present to you our Let's Play, in this case a brand new Let's Play, in terms of 2022. And here we are, onto the forms of the PlayStation 4 once again, after the events of Sonic Colors Ultimate. So here we go, on to a remake of the forms of SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, known as SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Now, I think this particular remake first came out in the forms of the 2020 year, aka the worst year we've ever experienced. Now, as a result though, yeah, like I said before, this is a remake of the original game, originally released in 2003, for the likes of the forms of multiple consoles, except Game Boy Advance, because the Game Boy Advance, including the PC version, are a lot different. So also in here though, in a remake, it did came out on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC Steam. So as a result though, yeah, you probably get the idea about that. Now if you're probably wondering why it is somehow managed able to mute this particular intro screen, that's only mainly because, it obviously contains the actual full song of the theme song of the SpongeBob SquarePants TV show. So because of this though, good thing I did manage able to mute that portion, because otherwise though, I just really don't want to get the copyright issue. So just in case I don't want to able to actually get ourselves a copyright claim strike. So yeah, as you can tell, we actually got ourselves some familiar options here. So in this case we have, options, as well as some of these, audio languages here and there, which, kind of think about it, you can actually now able to actually set the game in Japanese language or something like that, which is interesting. So, as well as from that though, I think, fundamentally speaking, after all these years, oh, there's also the credits as well, but there was also multiplayer, which, unfortunately, for the sake of this particular playthrough, I can't show this to you right now. So anyways, let's get to it with the forms of SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. So, let's get to it. There's going to be a lot of loading screens in this game, by the way, so...
Welcome to Bikini Bottom, a normally peaceful undersea sanctuary. Today it will be transformed into a theater of pure horror, wherein our little yellow friend will play the starring role.
Today is the big day. I have devised an ingenious plan to finally steal the Krabby Patty formula. And if Bikini Bottom happens to get demolished in the process, oh well. With my brand new Duplicatotron 3000, I'll clone an army of robots that will wreak mayhem and destruction at my command. One last review of the checklist. Let's see. Item number 1, is Plankton a genius? Answer yes. Okay, checklist complete. Throw in the switch. Welcome, my perfectly obedient robot army. Hang on. I want to get a photo for my scrapbook. Hey, hello? What do you think you're doing? Oh, no, wait! But I'm your master! I made you! No! Oh, my good China!
Another perfect day playing robots and racehorses.
Yeah, only I keep getting the racehorses and the robots mixed up.
Wouldn't it be great if we had real robots to play with, Patrick? I'd name mine Robo Jr. or Zorlon or maybe Frankie.
Yeah, these unreal robots are getting boring. Hey, what if we put the robots in here?
Oh, how shellfish of you.
It's not just any shell. It's my magic wishing shell.
Wow, that's great, Patrick.
So we put the toy robots in here.
Okay.
Then we say the magic wishing words and shake the magic wishing shell.
Okay.
Then we go to sleep, and in the morning, we'll have real robots to play with.
But Patrick, aren't we going to say the magic wishing words?
You already did.
So, okay is the magic wishing word?
It used to be Alakazama Alabala Wiesna Tikitana Fushbar Griddle Bits von Wiederschnauzer, but I kept forgetting it.
Are you sure this'll work?
Sure. Last week I only had one big cookie crumb and I was really hungry, so I put my cookie crumb in the magic wishing shell, then I said the magic wishing word and shook it, and in the morning I had lots of little cookie crumbs!
Patrick, I proclaim that tomorrow is going to be the best day ever.
Good night, SpongeBob.
Good night, Patrick.
The next morning.
Gonna play with robots, gonna play with robots, gonna play with robots, gonna play with... Wow! Gary, did you do that?
So yeah, if you couldn't tell, the visuals in this game looks a lot more upgraded than the forms of how it does in the original version, so...
Yeah, Gary. It sure looks like we're in a doozy of a pickle. I think I'm gonna have to learn a lot in order to fix this mess. Meow. What a fantastic idea! These signs will provide important tips to help me out. How do I read the signs? Meow. Oh, okay. Press this button to read the signs. Meow. So if I want to come back and talk to you again, just walk up to you and press this button. I'd better get started now, Gary. I think that this is going to be a very long day.
It sure is, SpongeBob, because obviously, if you couldn't tell already, that if you're following through our Let's Play of the original SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Let's Play back in about 2 years ago, then you do realize about the fact that the gameplay itself plays out exactly the same as the original, except the fact that, like I said before, the visual style is a lot more new and fresh, especially noticeable it's in HD. So as a result though, this is a pretty cool looking remaster or remake of the game. Well, mind you, there are some quality of life improvements and such, like for example, as you can see, we got ourselves the golden spatula on that particular beginning portion of the game by spending 50 shiny objects, and then basically there's the fact that thankfully, unlike the original game, that basically every time you're able to actually see that cinematic cutscene where basically after you obtained the golden spatula, they did manage to able to stutter for a bit, but as a result though, thankfully in this particular remake, that it fixes that issue. So either way though, I'm glad this is improved. And also not to mention though, is the fact that relatively speaking, as you can tell, I'm going to be playing it on the PlayStation 4 version, because that was actually, to me though, is the definitive version of the game in my opinion, because if you ever played the PlayStation 2 version before, on the original game, then you feel right at home when it comes to controls, because it plays exactly the same. Although, when I've tried the forms of the Switch version back in the forms of it 2 years ago, well mind you, I no longer have the Switch version anymore, just because, well, I've heard that the Switch version is probably the worst version of the game, probably due to the fact that, well, I'm pretty sure that the frame rate might be still exactly the same. Sorry if I just somehow managed able to get myself tongue twisting again, folks, so I do apologize for that. So basically, it's the fact that what I've heard, that the Switch version also runs quite well, except the fact that with the actual, the visuals can be felt a bit slightly blurry or pixelated in some situations there. So as a result though, I honestly do not recommend the Switch version unless you want to play this amazing game on the go, if you decided to. So as a result though, wow, I just have no idea why I just somehow no longer have the Switch version, just for the sake of the forms of, well, poor frame rate, or in some cases worse visuals than the other versions, like the Xbox One version, or the PS4 version to be more specific. So, anyways, let's watch some TV.
Breaking news! Bikini Bottom residents have been attacked by a raging torrent of robot horror!
So much for fixing this quietly.
Authorities are not sure who is responsible for unleashing the mechanical menaces, but they have assured us that the person is in big, big trouble.
Uh-oh.
Did I say big trouble? I meant so enormous that it's hard to comprehend trouble. We'll keep you posted as this tragic story unfolds. Tragically, we're sure.
So, you know what I mean, the robots is about to be invaded to the actual Bikini Bottom, and it's up to SpongeBob, Patrick, or even a third playable character, which you probably already know, Sandy, were able to actually save the day. So, that's basically the whole plot in this game, so, you know, it's basically the same. So, anyways, let's just explore the Bikini Bottom now.
Ah, there's nothing like the sounds of your own neighborhood.
Go away, SpongeBob. You're polluting my thinking space.
Trying to steal the Krabby Patty formula again, eh, Plankton? Well, you won't get away with it.
I've got bigger fish to fry. I've got to figure out how to regain control of the chum bucket from those robots.
Where did they come from?
Where? I don't know. Not for me, though, that's for sure. They just showed up out of nowhere and started calling me rude names and throwing things. They even bent all my spoons. I love those spoons like they were my children.
That's terrible.
Oh, won't you help me stop them? Before they bend all my forks?
Not the forks! Of course I'll help. But wait, I'm supposed to collect a whole lot of golden spatulas.
Golden spatulas, eh? SpongeBob, if you could get me back into the chum bucket, I'll give you a bucket full of golden spatulas. In your dreams.
You've got a deal.
So anyways, I think we should probably get started to try to able to explore around the Bikini Bottom after all, and hopefully just trying to collect some more of those shiny objects by once again taking down all kinds of tikis right there. So yeah, nothing new or anything, it's just basically the exact same thing as the original, so...
Hey, SpongeBob! I just dropped by to give you a bubble hand!
Bubble Buddy.
You see, you're going to need to learn some new bubble-blowing moves if you're going to journey to the 9th dimension and defeat the giant monkey man!
But all I need to do is figure out how to get rid of these robots.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I've been in the soap bottle a little too long. Where were we?
Something about new bubble moves?
Right! Press this button and you'll launch yourself straight up in the air with bubble power that defeats anything that is directly above you. Try it out!
So yeah, we now stumbled across Bubble Buddy, but in HD. So yeah, pretty swell stuff. Especially noticeable that, like I said before, this is a remake of the forms of, you know, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. And then basically, though, they bring out a lot of nostalgia moments for those of you who've watched the forms of the SpongeBob TV show ever since back in long time ago, or at this rate in time, from about 23 years ago, actually. So because of that, though, because, you know, this game, along with the original version of the game, has a lot of charm than the likes of how it does it on any other SpongeBob games. Like, for example, like, I don't seem to able to actually remember about the forms of how the fact that, well, I do apologize if my commentary gets a little bit iffy for the most part, because after all, as you probably already noticed, that me, Mighty, and Pac-Man have recently decided able to take a break on The Simpsons Hit and Run for a while, because obviously, in addition to how the fact that you remember how yesterday that Maxie has finally come back onto the forms of Super Mario 3D All-Stars while he's now playing through Super Mario Sunshine now, but also I feel like I can able to actually just to play this game for you all, especially noticeable it's almost entirely related to the forms of summer themed, so yeah, you get the idea about that. So anyways, let's go ahead and you know, get some more shiny objects here, and you know, that should able to give me enough until we realize about something is completely different around here. So, to be more specifically, shiny objects grinding. But, we'll talk more details about that as soon as we're able to actually continue exploring for this game. So, anyways, Mr. Krabs.
SpongeBob, this flapping robot crisis is making the Krusty Krab lose money like a sinking ship. No money means no more Krusty Krab. No more Krusty Krab means no more fry cooking for you.
No more fry cooking?
But because you're gullible, I'm gonna help you out. And of course make a small profit in return. I've got a few golden spatulas that I'll be willing to trade to you for some of those shiny objects.
As far as I'm aware, that the animation is completely different this time, because unlike any forms
Hey,
of,
Patrick,
well, you know.
nice sock.
What sock?
The one you're standing on.
Oh, that one. It's lost.
Well, if that one's lost, where are your other socks?
Well, they're more lost. A bunch of robots came through here and stole my whole sock collection. I could use some help getting them back.
Sure thing, Patrick. What are best friends for?
Okay then, for every 10 socks you bring back to me, I'll give you a golden turkey baster.
You mean spatula?
Bless you.
So of course you're still able to actually collect not only golden spatulas but also shiny objects, and of course some Patrick socks when he's able to receive them. So
First, those stupid robots ruined a perfectly relaxing mud bath this morning, and now you show up. Can my day get any more dreary?
I am so sorry, Squidward. Patrick and I were just playing a game and...
Oh, I correct myself. I should have known that whole robot problem involved both of you.
Squidward, I don't know what to do. How can I fix everything?
Why don't you move to another town? That should help out more than enough. Ha! Ha! Move to another town. Ha! I cracked me up. But seriously, just jump around like an idiot. That should at least make me smile. Ha!
okay, we can do that, Squidward, because obviously I'm just gonna have to jump around and then smash all these little tikis and then smash every single fragile things.
Okay, just stop jumping, will you? If you take this golden spatula, will you please go away?
See, Squidward? I knew that you could help me out. You're the best.
Don't touch me.
And from here we get ourselves another golden spatula, like so. So either way though, just like the forms of how it does it on the original version of the game, I'm gonna be focusing on 100% in the whole game. However though, again, I'll probably talk more detail about the forms of shiny objects grinding until for later. Because for the most part though, let's just go ahead and grab the Patrick sock after trying to able to mess around in Squidward's house and all that stuff. But of course we're not done with there yet, so hopefully we'll try to able to pay a visit around Patrick's house, because as far as I'm aware, I believe he also got one of his socks on his own. So either way though, we can pretty much expect how this is going. By the way, just like in forms of how it does it on the original version of the game, there's quite a lot of loading screens here and there. However though, there's one particular difference that I wasn't particularly a fan of, which we'll probably talk more details about that as soon as we get into the actual main action for the sake of the forms of this entire game. So either way though, let's just go ahead and, you know, smash some more tikis and smash that particular sand sofa couch, and that way you get yourself some Patrick sock. So yeah, you pretty much expect how this is going. So, and I believe there was all in all like 80 of these things for Patrick socks, so at least it has the exact same amount. But ultimately though, the actual main collectibles in the game, golden spatulas, I believe there are still 100 of them in total. Like, they don't usually add anything new in here, aside from the fact that there's one new thing that's been added to this remake, and that's what appears to be the brand new multiplayer, which, kind of think about it, what multiplayer usually functions for this particular remake is that originally, that in the original version of the game, they were expecting to able to add it in multiplayer, but somehow it's been scrapped. But thankfully in the remake, they've now finally added in multiplayer. But I'll talk more details about that on the extra video or some sort of. So, anyways, let's begin the first world in this game, which is Jellyfish Fields.
Green hills of Jellyfish Fields. A place to experience nature at its most raw, and sometimes a bit tender from the stings.
Squidward, are you okay?
No, I'm not okay, you barnacle head. Do I look like I'm okay?
Well, your nose does look pretty big. I mean, bigger than usual because it's usually pretty big. And you look clammy. And oh my gosh, you're bald!
I've always been bald, but now I'm stung all over.
Well, according to the Jellyfisher Field Manual, severe jellyfish stings can be treated effectively by applying a thick layer of king jellyfish jelly to the affected areas. King jellyfish?
Well, I guess you're off to scale Spork Mountain and die a horrible death under the vicious tentacles of King Jellyfish. I'll stay here, balled up here in excruciating pain.
You do that! Don't worry, Squidward. I'll bring back that King Jellyfish jelly for you to rub all over yourself.
Okay, so let's begin Jellyfish Fields. So, yeah, we can pretty much expect that we need to able to reach at the very top, and then basically we can able to actually come across into King Jellyfish. So, because kind of think about it, whenever I do remember like watching the forms of the gameplay footage of the alpha version of this particular remake, that I was very excited back in the day. But I usually kind of think about it because, relatively speaking, I don't know about you, but because of that though, it has been a very long time since I've actually last played SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom entirely, because the last time I played the game was actually on the original PlayStation 2 version. Well, mind you, technically the PS4 remake, just for the sake of the forms of trying to practice the controls and the mechanics, but either way though, it has been about 2 years ago since I actually last played this, so yeah, you pretty much expect how this to be going on for this point, So because if you're already aware of, for those of you able to actually saw that coming, that obviously I've already managed able to get myself my health extension, because obviously just like in the original version of the game, basically if I somehow stumble across the fact that whenever you're able to actually just to notice that if you grab the golden pants, that basically it allows you to able to increase your health, so yeah, that might be something worth noting for, and I think there's only like 3 of those golden pants to obtain. Because, again, if you're following for a Let's Play of the original version of the game already, then you probably feel right at home, especially noticeable after seeing, you know, in comparison to the original version, then its remake. So yeah, you probably get the idea about that. So, anywho, so a few things I want to explain for this point today, and that is the fact that today's date is of course the 2nd of June today, in this case in 2022 today, and gotta think about it, one thing that I suppose that Maxi has totally forgot to mention about ever since in its Let's Play of Super Mario 3D All-Stars and Super Mario Sunshine so far, that basically, oh and by the way, every time you die, despite the fact that I was hoping to try to get the golden spatula, here's the annoying part. Every time you die, basically the loading screen pops up instantly. So because of this though, that is probably perhaps the most annoying aspect of the remake, because sometimes it might take it even a bit longer, especially noticeable that unlike the original version of the game, it just somehow managed able to load instantly, so that way you can able to get back on track if you manage to able to actually come across into that specific points worth noting for. So, but in new forms of the remake, on the other hand, though, that, you know, every time you die, especially noticeable if you fall off, or even especially noticeable that, well, you probably already know what I'm trying to say, that basically, now there's a lot of loading screens everywhere. So because of that, though, you know, think of like Sonic 06's loading times if you somehow die onto any of those town missions in Soliana, but as a result of that kind of stuff, though, it's so annoying sometimes. But anyways, let's go ahead and spend those shiny objects to able to progress here. So of course, just like in the original version of the game, that basically you still need to able to collect some more shiny objects until you're able to actually decide to progress through the actual game. So, but either way though, then again, I'll talk more details about that particular shiny objects things itself during later. So either way though, because for the most part, we just somehow barely got started. So, however, there's one little aspect I might able to actually do something completely different this time, because as far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure that I think Sonic the Hedgehog did somehow manage to able to did the original version of the game. I'm pretty sure that I was good able to try to able to decide to do that. I'll do all the missions, of course. Well, mind you, a couple of exceptions, mind you. And also during that time, that if I somehow missing some of those Patrick socks later down the road, then I'll be back for it eventually. But as a result of that kind of stuff though, is the fact that certain socks can be easy to find, whilst there are certain socks that are pretty hard to find. At least if you ever first time playing the game, depending on what version you're playing, so... And there's also kind of a cool thing as well, is the fact that unlike in SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom on the 2003 PC game, that, at least thankfully, the remake of Battle for Bikini Bottom, that on the PC Steam version, that it plays exactly like the other versions, like, you know, 3D platforming and everything, whilst compared to the 2003 PC game, that's all about click and, you know, point-and-click adventure kind of stuff, which, as a result, though, I've honestly have no idea why they go for that decision for this gameplay style, but either way, though, it knows what it is when it comes to that, though, so... So of course, just like in the original version of the game, there are some robots we need to beat, so yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same as the original, but with the forms of nicer visuals, and on top of all that stuff, though, runs at 60 FPS at all times. Well, for the most part anyway, so I've seen the actual, the tech analysis and all that stuff, so... Yeah, you probably get the idea about that, so... And of course, there's some underwear, which basically gives you some health back, so... Nothing else to it for this point, so anyways, let's go ahead and destroy that cannon, and we can progress from onwards. Oh, shoot, I somehow skipped that text box, I'm so sorry.
Wow, a bungee jump for a golden spatula! I must be in heaven!
Yeah, I do apologize for that, because I didn't pay attention to the actual text box to somehow manage to appear right instantly, after I realized that I somehow managed to able to continue on for this point, so, whoops. But that's okay though, because again, if you're following through our original version of the game, then basically, you weren't able to know that every other dialogue here and there, so... Anyways, let's do some bungee jumping, and hopefully we'll get ourselves the next golden spatula for this point. Because, you know, golden spatulas are basically the power stars in the SpongeBob universe, so... Yeah, because if you're following through, again, the original version of the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about, so... So yeah, another thing I want to explain for this point today, and that is the fact that recently, I somehow managed to able to pick up quite a number of items for this point today, that I somehow managed to able to purchase, back in the forms of about a few days ago. Like, for example, that, do you guys even remember, back in the forms of our discussion, with the forms of in, The Simpsons Hit and Run, although I'll get into more details about that, because we have another robot that we'll stumble across, that, although I'm gonna talk over through this part because, well, there's not much right to home about because again, if you've seen the original version of the game, you know exactly how this plays out. Although, the annoying thing about this is that they still have not fixed the knockback issue. Like, every time you get hit by an enemy, then basically the knockback will exist again. So I have no idea why they managed to come across something like this happens. Like, it's bad enough that in certain patches, they managed able to fix certain things, except for one, which is of course, not only with the forms of loading screens every time you die, but also, get this, is the fact that there's no knockback removal. So, I honestly have no idea why they still kept it in the first place, but either way though, it knows what it is when it comes to likely for some... well, game developers for the sake of trying to keep it as it is as far as I'm usually concerned with, but I digress. So yeah, you probably know what I mean about the fact that, as you can tell, that's relatively speaking, and do you guys even remember in our Let's Play of The Simpsons Hit and Run, that basically that we no longer have ourselves not only Rayman Legends, alongside with the forms of well, Rayman Legends on the Wii U most likely, but also say applies to Donkey Konga on the GameCube, and also on top of that stuff though with Wii Party U, and basically I somehow managed to get other items as a replacement. Like for example, I've somehow managed to able to get myself Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition again, just in case I'm also able to actually just to be hyped about the forms of the Street Fighter series again. But hopefully I'll try to able to get the 30th anniversary collection at some point, specifically the Switch version, not so much on the PS4 version or something like that, but we'll just see what happens in due time. And on top of all that stuff though, I also managed able to get myself the DS version of Sega Superstars Tennis. So, because I remember that time when Sonic did somehow mention to me about this once. Ah, darn it, I missed that platform. And also another loading screen every time you die, so... well, nothing you can see around here. It's just all black and grainy and stuff like that. It's not pleasant to look at, but it knows what it is when it comes to likely for its, you know what I mean with all that pretty bare minimum when it comes to loading screens. Although, unlike in other games, like certain Dragon Ball Z games, that basically does the fact that you can able to interact with the loading screen as much as you would like to able to get just into. So as a result, though, I honestly have no words to able to think about it. So anyway, because I remember when Sonic did it somehow mention to me back in long time ago, that basically does the fact that he used to have the forms of the DS version of Sega Superstars Tennis back in long time ago, but for whatever reason, he did tell me that we have got ourselves the bootleg fake version. And what do I mean by that, though? Well, basically, you know exactly what I'm saying. That if you stumble across something like a bootleg or a fake cartridge version of these specific DS games every now and then, basically though is the fact that when I double check on the forms of certain screenshots of back in the forms of in 2010's era or something like that, or perhaps even maybe certain videos that I saw based off from 2010 era, and basically though is the fact that when we did manage to have ourselves Sega Superstars Tennis during that time on the DS version, but then we stumbled across the fake copy just because of the forms of a wrong picture size, and on top of all that stuff though, a very oddly shaped, you know, rated E for everyone, ESRB symbol. And on top of all that stuff though, with all these screenshots or actually ripped from the forms of the capture footage or something, and on top of all that stuff though, bare amount of those information, and on top of all that stuff though, the Pokemon copyright thing was actually in there, so...
Wow! Mermaid Man! I have all your comics and toys and mail!
Huh? What? Oh, yeah, it's that Sponge Kid. And now, what was I supposed to tell you?
That Patrick is surrounded by robots and needs my help!
Huh? Oh, no. I think it had something to do with massaging my feet.
Well, if massaging your feet will save Patrick, then massage I must!
Help! They're making me hit myself!
Massaging your feet isn't working. I think I'd better try a more direct approach.
By clipping my toenails?
Here I come, Patrick!
Oh boy, we're gonna be going to these slide segments here and there. So either way though, and also as far as I've noticed, is the fact that I think they somehow tweaked a bit when it comes to likely going for these slide segments, because they're nowhere near as like loose as the forms of how it does it on the original version of the game, I think. So, well, it's hard to explain because it has been about, you know, 2 years ago since we've actually last played the original, you know, version of the game. So we can pretty much expect how this is going. So, anyways, back into our discussion about the forms of that time when I used to have the DS version of, you know, Sega Superstars Tennis. So yeah, in addition with the forms of some description I've already mentioned, but also not to mention though, if we somehow manage to get back into the actual game itself, our saving progression is actually lost, which meaning that, you know, fake bootleg cartridges is a bad idea. So as a result though, I remember so many memories with that. So, at least luckily I've now managed to get ourselves a genuine copy, which thankfully we able to actually now save the game. And on top of all that stuff though, that's the actual box art is now genuine now. And overall, it's so much better than the forms of how it does it on, you know, the bootleg copy of the game, which I'm very happy about. So... but I digress, so let's just go ahead and try this slide segment again, because as far as you already know, that I somehow keep on missing that particular sock, which thankfully I somehow managed to pull this off, so that should be okay for me, I suppose. So, yeah, and also every once in a while though is the fact that in certain areas that you have to fight against with all these robots, in addition to that, we also need to get rid of the actual duplicator machines, so just in case we will be able to actually decide to progress. So, yeah, you pretty much expect if you've seen our, you know, original version of the game, which to be expected at this point. So, anywho, so, yeah, because here's what I'm going to be thinking of when it comes to the progression of this particular Let's Plays goes. I will try my best to able to actually go for the entire world if possible, if all depending on the forms of certain objectives we have to do, and as well as from that though, certain stuff we need to focus on, and on top of all that stuff though, we'll try to focusing on one half or the first half of certain worlds, at least as far as I'm usually concerned with, so, because after all, that unlike the forms of how it does it on the original version of the game, that sometimes we managed to able to sometimes divide it into one full part, whilst other times though it might actually be somewhat between 3 parts or something like that. But at least even then though, that might be something I would like trying to describe, but I think that's as far as I can usually say about it, so... Anyways, let's go across these platforms, and sure enough, we'll meet up with Patrick Star, so we can able to play as him again in HD.
Hey, SpongeBob.
Whew! Thank goodness you're safe, Patrick.
Well, of course, SpongeBob. Why wouldn't I be?
Well, the robots and the...
Oh yeah, I found this for you. I don't know what it is, but it looks important.
Thanks, Patrick. I tell you what, all that running around has left me pooped. Why don't you continue on for a bit?
Okay.
So yeah, we can now take control of Patrick, of course, so oh, and there's also another thing that's worth mentioning for this point as well. There's a good thing I'm actually going to be doing this game for you guys, especially noticeable if you've seen our announcement trailer for the sake of the forms of SpongeBob SquarePants, the Cosmic Shake game is going to be coming, that hopefully we might able to actually see the game in action at some point in the future, but at least I'm hoping that the gameplay style might be exactly similar to this, because if it does, I'm seriously going to be hyped for this, but if not though, well, it's kind of hard to say, because as far as I'm aware, we haven't exactly heard anything new for the sake of the forms of SpongeBob SquarePants, the Cosmic Shake game, for such a long time, because aside from the forms of the announcement trailer, and that's pretty much about it. But hopefully we'll see some more info on that game at some point in the future, but let's just say not now. So anyways, let's continue our progressioning there, and let's get rid of those thunder-like guards tikis right here to get some more, you know, shiny objects there. This will pretty much launch me back all the way over there, so what's the point of going back there in the first place? Well, mind you, because I'm obviously checking every single surroundings right here. That's all I'm really here for, especially noticeable if there are some things I was missing, so...
Hey, you barnacle head! Watch where you're going!
The rock is talking to me. Almighty Rock, I am at your command.
Down here, you big pink lummox!
Oh, hi there, Mr. Plankton. Are you going to vaporize me today?
So very tempting. Unfortunately, I found myself in the undesirable position of having to assist you.
I was in an undesirable position yesterday, and now my neck hurts.
Heed my words, my large future minion. Go into Jellyfish Cave. Follow the instructions on the signs that you see. At the end of the caves, you'll still be a big pink idiot, but you'll know enough to help defeat the robots and get me back into the chum bucket.
Well, then will you vaporize me?
I might spare your life so I can force you to work in my sweatshop making low-quality design and knockoff wallets.
Oh, thank you!
Okay, so now we can able to explore the actual cave by activating the switch, and we should able to actually explore in there now, so... Oh, and another items I somehow managed to got recently, which there are both accessories as well as another PlayStation 2 game which I somehow managed to order. That's what it appears to be. Well, first things first though, let's talk about these accessories first. First of all, I've managed able to get myself the PlayStation 1 controller, another PlayStation 1 controller I might add, because I somehow managed able to get the PS1 controller that says like PS1 word on there with dual analog sticks. And I also got another version which is basically the same thing, except it now says PlayStation, and along with the logo itself too, with dual analog sticks. And now I've actually got another PlayStation controller, but this time around though involves around no analog sticks, just because I feel like retro here and there, and also it might be very good for 2D platformers, like for example Rayman, and Klonoa, Daughter Phantom Isle, and all the other games in general, so... And also I've managed able to actually order another version of Sega Superstars Tennis. Well, this time around though, I somehow managed to order the PlayStation 2 version. Well, originally I was expecting to try and able to get the PlayStation 3 version, but I'll save that and do it another time because, well, as far as I'm aware, between the PS3 version along with the Xbox 360 version, that both of those versions does manage to retain online play, but we'll be meaning to able to do that Let's Play at some point in the future, but not now anyway though, although I will try to get the PS3 version at another time, just in case if we decide able to do a Let's Play for its really good, you know, video quality and stuff like that, for 720p standpoint, So of course, Patrick is the only one who can able to actually carry the watermelon into someplace elsewhere, so but there's actually a new thing in this game this time around though, which I suppose it kinda does the same thing on the original version for that too, although I may be wrong, because it's been ages since I actually last played the original game, that this time around though, as you can see on screen, we've now got ourselves the lock-on cursor, which means it's basically an automatic throwing adjustment kind of syndrome. So because of this though, hard to explain, because again, it's been about, you know, 2 years since I've actually last played this game pretty much, so, and I get the feeling this is gonna, oh, nice. Thank God I somehow made it, especially noticeable as soon as when that watermelon is about to explode, but at the very least I somehow managed to make it during that time, so that's good for me I suppose. So, oh jeez, I keep on getting hit by certain hazards. But at the very least we've made it to the checkpoint, as well as the forms of the next part, so I suppose suffice to say, I think we should probably end things off at this point right here, I'm afraid guys. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. That is the fact that we'll continue exploring through Jellyfish Fields, and hopefully we can get all the golden spatulas from there. So I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Later fellas.